On page 29, we'll see a special type of question called a multiple alleles question, where we will find, usually we see 4 or more phenotypes. When we see 4 or more phenotypes, clearly our legend has to be creative. In this example, the question has already been, they've given us the legend. We can see it right here. And this would represent a hierarchy of dominance, where this is going to be the most dominant and this would be the most recessive. And so if I look at question 1A, we can clearly see that there are a few different ways for us to become or show full color. Full color would be like, for example, a C+, C+, or C+, and any of the others like C, CH, or C+, C, D, or C+, little c. Clearly, the big C is most dominant and will overpower all the rest. There are only 3 ways for us to become, or for us to find a mouse that is chinchilla in color. This is the color chinchilla, not the animal chinchilla in this case. So C, CH, C, CH is what we would say is homozygous for chinchilla. C, CH, C, D, that would, what we would call that a chinchilla in color, but heterozygous for blonde. And C, CH, little c would be heterozygous chinchilla. I'm sorry, a chinchilla, which is heterozygous for blonde. There are only 2 ways for us to see blonde appearing: C, D, C, D, and of course C, D, little c. And finally, only one albino, and that would be little c, little c. Move on to the actual question here. A chinchilla female, again, that's the color chinchilla. Let's say there's a male. Here is the female. A chinchilla female, so I know this is going to be a CCH at some point, which is heterozygous for albino. Let's look back up here. A chinchilla female that is heterozygous for albino, there's homozygous. This is heterozygous for blonde. There's a chinchilla female heterozygous for albino. So I'm going to make that a little c down over here. Was mated, pardon me, sorry about the mic bump, was mated with a full color male. So I'm going to underline that and write it down. Notice I stop periodically in my reading to write something down. That's a very important step. You should do the same thing. We have to have a full color male. There's a C+, which was heterozygous for blonde. And again, if we come all the way up here, we're looking somewhere in here. There's our full colors. That's homozygous full color. This is heterozygous for chinchilla. There's the one that is heterozygous for blonde. C, D. What phenotypes could be expected in their offspring? So let's just simply show the cross. So allow me to just cheat a little bit here. I'm going to pull a bigger version of this thing up for us. I'm going to simply say, let's take this guy and this one, this girl right there, and have them mate. And we'll illustrate it here in the square. The important thing to realize is that you take the exponent with you. Imagine that that is one thing all by itself. It's a C+, and this one is a separate sperm, C, D. And again, we see on the female side, separate those, C, C, H, and of course the little c gets its own square as well. I'm going to make that a little smaller so we don't get confused. When we combine in, I'll use a new color. When we combine in, here are the kids. I'm going to see a C plus and a C, CH. If I pause there, I know that C plus is dominant right up here. Is going to dominate everything else. So this is going to actually be a full color individual. C, CH, C, D, C plus, little c, and C, D, little c. Come back to the question. The question actually reads, what phenotypes could be expected in their offspring? So let's simply list out what the offspring phenotypes would be. Now look at this first one. That one is full color. This one is also full color. I don't have to list it again. Here is a chinchilla color. And finally, here is a blonde. So what we've learned is that as you read any of these questions, I want to make sure that when you get that far in, that you are already coming down here to write something down.